Happy New Year and happy holidays. Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Co. This is Sports Cards Pro. And today we are going to find out what the hottest sports cards of the week are using the Sports Cards Pro app. As you can see, I jumped on to the Sports Cards Pro page. We are going to go into the tools section. You are going to search, or rather scroll down to sales volume data. Now, before we get started on this video, I should mention that just for $6 a month, you get access to this and many other features, part of the premium features package. Now, just for watching this video, just for tuning in today, just for subscribing, you get access to this feature absolutely for free while we go through it together. So without further ado, we are going to go into basketball first. So we see here that Wemby's Prism Draft Picks is the #1 card with 123 sales this week. If you look back on previous videos, this is down a little bit, still relatively high. And I'd be curious to see if this spikes again when prominent sets of him featured in an NBA uniform debut. For now, we're going to dive into Michael Jordan's number 120 All-Star out of 1988 Fleer. This 36 of them have sold at an average of $49.90. 93 cents, actually. All-time high for this card, ungraded, is $185 back in February of 2021. Crazy how much the market has changed since then. It is down to about $49.93, as previously mentioned. It's actually up a little bit. Back in November, it was down to $35. For whatever reason, there's a little bit of an uptick. PSA 10 copies average for $4,135. So big price tag on those 10s. 9 5s, $1,500. Again, pretty big price tag. Even an 8 will net you some pretty nice dough. But of course, these cards, especially the older ones, 1988, people see these numbers sometimes and get very excited with the type of card that they have. I would highly recommend researching what an 8 looks like prior to submitting, as that is probably the most likely of all of them. And so we can actually dive into the pop report here. So this is a great feature on the Sports Cards Pro website, something that I would recommend that all of you check out. If you scroll down, it says pop report. You actually get access to numbers straight from PSA of how many of this card have been graded and what grade. And so if you're looking to submit a card, I usually like to look at this because this will give you an average. As you can see here, 8 is the average grade, which we said previously is fairly profitable, followed by a 9 and a 7. So this card actually grades fairly well. And if you scroll back, 9's $318. If you find a good copy of this, I mean, it could be a very profitable endeavor. So definitely something to look out for. If you've got one of these in your collections, maybe after some research and looking at what 8s and 9s and 10s and 7s and 6s look like, maybe you want to send one in. All right, next on the docket, we have baseball. So this is obviously off season. As a result of that, you're not going to see a ton of volume here. We got Ken Griffey's Star Rookie at the #1 spot, 112 sold. It's an iconic card. And it's probably never going to get old. Now, Jackson Holliday's 2022 Bowman Draft actually picking up some steam. Why? Because he's likely going to make his debut next year, and people are buying low. I would say low very, very loosely, because the all-time low for this card was back in June of 2023, $2.25. But there is a bit of a dip, though. Look at that. PSA 10 copies are going for $53.59. I suspect that he's probably in the lead in terms of like rookie of the year going into the next season, or rather who everyone has as probably competing for that rookie of the year spot. So definitely something to consider. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. A lot of off-season buying takes place around now, and they sell either leading up to it, so like March, April, or when these guys get called up, as we saw with Ellie De La Cruz last year. Played great baseball, but it's just that hype is not really sustainable. So a lot of people are trying to catch the market slipping right now, and that's at least what it looks like. As you guys know, if you've tuned in the previous videos, I try to dissect why people buy stuff. It's fun. The psychological element is kind of cool for me. Next up, we got Brock Purdy taking over 1, 2, and 3 spot in football. However, we got Puka Nacua and Anthony Richardson's Panini Donruss. I should mention that Prism just came out, so I suspect that next week you're going to see a massive influx in sales when it comes to Panini Prism. We'll go into Puka Nacua. 57 sales, $3.25. This is his 2023 Donruss card. his rookie, of course. This card also just kind of came out. No, kind of. It just came out. January 2024. These are the numbers. PSA 10 copies, $44.06. 9.5s, $29.43. 9s, $15, 8, $7.90. So the common trend here is if your card grades an 8 and even a 9, it's really not very profitable. And that's something that you should be looking at moving forward. Now, of course, if you're one of the first to grade, one of the first to market, you might benefit from essentially being the first, but it's a dangerous game, especially when you're talking about getting cards back from PSA on time and other grading companies, quite frankly. So the base card era is officially behind us, in my opinion. Now, obviously, I mean, this is a $4 card. If you gem it, that's a 10x. That's pretty important, or pretty impressive, rather. But it's also very risky. Like I said, you get a 9 back, you're barely breaking even, and that's for this time. Like, if enough of them flood the market, I mean, that price goes down, right? If this guy starts playing poorly, again, price goes down. So really keep that in mind before grading. Now, of course, if you're grading just for your own sake, who cares? Anything I have to say today doesn't matter. Well, not anything, but you know what I mean? Like, anything price related I say today doesn't matter. Next up, we got a nice little increase on Austin Matthews. I love that. Jeremy Swayman is relatively high on this list as well. 17 sales over the course of the last 7 days, $8.57. He is the 1A, 1B with the Boston Bruins. We're having a pretty stellar start to the year. This card upon debut was $40 and dropped down to about $6 in October and is bumped up a little bit to $10. I say a little bit, but I mean, it almost doubled. So something to consider. I've said this many times on videos as well. The early stages are probably where you're going to pay the most for cards. So unless it's something that you really are going to have difficulty finding later on, I'd highly recommend waiting. If it's something that is out there, like a Young Gun, like a base, like even some of like the silvers, chances are you can probably find those if you wait a little bit. Look at this chart. This is like 9 months and it's a quarter. And that's if you didn't buy this massive dip right here, but it's a quarter of what it was when it debuted, right? So PSA 10 copies, $67, 9.5s, $45, 9s, $25.25. So you barely break even at that 9. 8s are a loss. Next up on the docket, we have here racing, little F1 action. Lewis Hamilton's purple 2021 Topps Chrome F1. 7 of them have sold. I wonder why. And if you go down, you see that they all sold on the same day. So very interesting. It looks like Belgian purple, Strian purple, Abu Dhabi purple. I don't know if that's just different listings. Great Britain purple, Spain purple. It looks like someone might be looking to put together a set potentially and just spent this day, Belgian, just spent today, like that day, in order to do it. So again, one of the interesting things about Sports Cards Pro is you can go into the sales as well. And this will kind of give you a good idea as to like, are all these sales taking place by one person? And in this case, it definitely looks like someone just scooped up a bunch of out of 399s. And especially when stuff like this happens on the same day, I think that's a pretty safe conclusion that it was like one person. So it's not necessarily that the whole market is like, oh my God, I need to own this card. It's rather someone just decided to put together the purples. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm here for, is to draw conclusions. PSA 10 copies are $41. 9.5s are $28.82. 9s, $18.27. 8s, $14.50. Again, nice little L there if you get an 8. So keep that in mind. Soccer is next. All right, we got Vinicius Jr. 2018 Panini Donruss. 8 of them have sold. As you can see, I mean, volume is down, and it's not uncommon. It's a holiday season. You really know when someone knows what they're doing if they're making the right moves right now. So just because volume is down does not mean that the buying stops. Again, please be responsible, have a budget, know who you're buying, know what you like. All those things apply. But I mean, there's really never a bad time to buy if you know what you're buying and you have different sports. So Vinicius Jr.'s rookie, this card's about $8.50. All-time high was $18.56. 9s, or sorry, 10s, $39.90. You got 9.5s just below that at $39. 9s, $16, not profitable. So in this case, again, a base card, it's not profitable at a 9. Wild times out here. Really, team, be selective on what you're grading, please. You'll thank me in 2 years or 5 years, or especially if you're holding some of these things. We got Eric Blanchfield, part of the UFC cards. Aaron, not Eric. What's wrong with me, coach? This card came out of 2023 Panini Select UFC, and it is approaching, I know it is all-time high territory. So $3. This card started off about $1, so 3x. If you know what you're doing in the UFC market, you speculated early on this individual, then guess what? You could very well be in the green. PSA 10 copies are $42.69. 9.5s are $28.50. 9s, $14.51. Again, not a ton of money to be made in 9s these days, team, especially when it comes to base. I'm going to say it over and over and over and over again, so you guys get the benefit of hearing an opinion that you probably should stick to. All right, my friends. Finally, we have wrestling. Zoe Stark is very high on this list. 2022 Panini Prism WWE sensational signatures. That was a mouthful. 4 of them have sold, $17.08. That is an oddly specific card, especially autograph to be selling. Something must have happened. I don't know. If you do know, let me know in the comment section. This time, this card was selling for $8 back in March, and it is all the way up to $17. So well over 2x. Yeah, it's about 2x. PSA 10 copies are $50. 9.5s, $49. 9s, $31. So again, even at a 9, not very profitable. So really know what you're looking for when it comes to these cards. Yeah, there's been a few people. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are all the sales right there. 4, sorry. Those are all the sales right there. I wonder if it's the same person. I guess we'll never know. Next up, we have wax. We're going to go into basketball wax. Let's go into some retail. Why don't we? Okay. And we're going to go into filter. Say okay over here. We're going to go popularity. Let's go biggest price changes. 2019 Panini basketball retail box. This is who's in this rookie class here? 2019. Shea 2018. Let me know in the comment section if you know who's in this rookie class. I don't know why it's escaping me right now. A little bit of brain fog. This box was just on an absolute heater back in February of 2021. $553. Yes, there is also wax tracking. Come on, team. Sports Cards Pro. Got down to an all-time low of $183, which might have been pretty close to what they were valued at. Maybe 2 or 3 times more when they released. And now they're sitting at about 220. So they've stabilized from the team. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the hottest sports cards of the week. If you haven't already, you need to like, subscribe, comment, share this with a friend. It means the world to us to have this content shown to more people. More people have the ability to learn a little bit, not only about Sports Cards Pro, but about the market and about different trends and how to read them. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Sports Cards Pro and Coach Co are out of here. Peace.